Yo, what's up? Welcome to my first video of Metamorph League. Now, maybe some of you already watched some of my videos in the previous leagues, so I have been doing this kind of loot video from different maps, usually 100 maps. So this will be my first farm of the Metamorph League, and I will cover up everything that I did. I'm not gonna say that this is the best way at the moment or anything like that, because no one actually really knows what's going on completely at the moment, because whole system has changed. And this is about what I did and how much money I made, and I'm gonna try a little different farm methods next time, probably the different awakening level and maybe different maps, stuff like that. So let's start. Let me first show you the loot if you want to see it in game. I mean, I pre-recorded it, but I have a spreadsheet available as always, and we are also going to talk about that, and there is also a link to the spreadsheet in the description. So as you see, this is how much currency I had before selling all my stuff. That's why I pre-recorded it, because I needed to, sell lots of stuff from 100 maps, mostly maps. Yeah, it is a little time consuming and maybe painful to sell lots of maps, but that's how we make money if you are farming high tier. So lots of the money comes from selling maps. So this was the currency, and all of these are in the spreadsheet, so I just want to show you because some people enjoy, seeing all the loot. Let's just go over it real quick. These were all jewelers, I guess. I forgot to add them to the other tab, so I need to put them here. The catalysts and sacrifices, of course. Some oils. I didn't get any expensive ones, only black oil, but that doesn't really expensive. And splinters. I used Beyond, by the way. These are all from normal Legion encounters. Next time maybe I can do 100 Legion. And these are all the maps. There are like 4 tabs of maps, lots of maps. We are gonna go in the detailed explanation and look at what's going on later. So yeah, that was a quick show of what was the loot. And this is how much money you make by selling all those maps and other currency. So let's start what I did, how much currency I made. So the profit was around 25 exalted. Let me say that from before starting, before going any deeper. There's also the spreadsheet here. We are gonna talk about that. And first, let me explain what I did. I'm saying again that this might not be the best way to farm currency in the current, let's say, league, because the atlas changed, and as I said earlier, I doubt that anyone knows. Most people, let's say, knows that what's the best way of farming right now. So this is what I tried. I also have some friends doing similar stuff, and that's what have been working for us. So first of all, you need to get your watchstones, and as you already saw that I don't use one of my watchstones, but it's just one boss away from completing, so make sure you get all your watchstones. What I did was putting 4 stones on 7 different zones, so I have 7 awakening level. Awakening level, as you can see here, that has lots of different bonuses. So the most important ones are 3% chance for Shaper Guardian map drop, and also Elder Guardian, and also, let's say, 7% chance for an additional connected map to drop. These are all from the map boss, so GGG really tried to make it worthy to kill map bosses, because if you are playing this game for let's say more than a league, if you have played this game, you know that map bosses didn't actually drop any decent loot previously, so they tried to buff things up a little, and it's been working really nice. Shaper Guardian maps are currently around 45 to 50 chaos, and Elder Guardians are um, I guess 25 or 30 chaos, I'm not really sure, but yeah, they are expensive, so it's a good profit if you get those. So you need some high awakening level. You can also go for 8 maybe. That's what I wanted to try next. So you see that we got 1% increased chance at gaining getting a Shaper or Elder Guardian map. Also the connected map increased from 7 to 8. So yeah, the reason for 7 levels is that, let me explain that first. As you can see that I only have one tier 10 at the moment. We don't have anything below 10, but we are not interested in those because this is a high tier farming, so you won't loot these anyway. But if you socket all watchstones in your atlas, you won't have anything below tier 14. So let's say you see that there is 13s here, 12s, 11s, and only a 110. And if I also socket this in, I won't have anything below 14. Yeah, so this means that you won't get any 13, 12, 11s, 10s from your atlas by running maps, I mean. So this of course has an impact on your profit, because you get lots of tier 13s and 12s, so you make a decent money by selling those. But increasing the awakening level by 1 can maybe make up for that profit, let's say. But yeah, that covers up what I did. We're gonna talk about sextants. Yeah, let's just talk about those first, so I can finish everything about showing the atlas. Before that, I had let's talk about the bonuses. Make sure that you have a high bonus, because these are very important if you want to sustain high tier maps and make good profit. So make sure your initial atlas bonus is at least 130, maybe 40. So try to complete as much as possible. So there is also a new bonus called awakening bonus. This also increases drop rates for maps by a certain amount, and it says drop 1 tier higher. This is 2 tiers higher. So there's also a little bonus here. I had 110, I guess, when I started doing the farm. On the way through I found some maps, so that increased a little. So make sure you have at least 130 here and at least 100 here before starting. If you are not familiar on how to complete the awakening objective, if you go on a map and just read the awakening bonus, let's say for this map, it says complete this map at tier 14 with awakening level 1. So you need to have at least one area on your atlas that has 4 sockets. So it's gonna say 1 here, level 1 at least. It doesn't have to be 1. It needs to be at least 1. So it can be 6, it can be 7, it can be 1. Alright. So for this map, and you need to run this map as tier 14. So if you don't have the maps already, you can of course buy from other players. what I did was, as you already know, that for some reason tier 14s are very expensive right now. They are even more expensive than tier 15s and 16s, most of the tier 14 maps. Maybe it's because people are trying to complete that awakening level, I'm not sure. The market is really weird at the moment. It's not like the usual prices before 3.9, so it's very weird. So if you want to drop your own maps, what I did was, let's say you need lots of different completions from this area. Let's say that I don't have any of these ones completed, alright? So make sure that you socket 4 stones here and unsocket the rest. So you will only have tier 15s here, or tier 14 if you need, yeah. So if you are running some maps, all the map drops you are gonna get are gonna be from this area. So you can complete those on your own and buy the ones that you miss. So if you have one, let's say this area completed, then unsocket and socket them on other areas. So try focusing on one area first, and once you have completed, go to the next. You don't have to do, let's say I completed this area, I want some completions here, alright? But I don't have any of these maps. But I already ran at least 10 maps here, completed some bonuses, so I have some of these maps available on my stash. So I can unsocket this. Let's say I have a tier 15 dig in my map stash. I can still do tier 15 dig, and because I socketed 4 here now, I will get these maps. So what I try to say is, you can do maps that they are there, that these aren't on your atlas at the moment, right? Tier 15 maybe present, tier 16, I don't know, let's say. Let's check. Yeah, it is tier 15. So you can just unsocket these and still do those maps as high tiers and force the atlas to drop maps from other areas. So you don't need to do a tier 14 city square to get this one. So maybe this will help some players out there who are new to the game. There are lots of different mechanics in this game, so this can be a question. I hope you understood. I messed up a little with the explanation, but I think you got the idea. So what else? Yeah, let's talk about sextants, how I did them. So I had a mix of every sextant when I started farming. I tried to use every one of them, so what I always did was I got 10 of each before going in a map. So the good thing about sextants now, you use them on your watchstones, alright? You can either get the watchstones to your inventory and use it like this, or you can even do like this. So the good thing is, let's say, yeah, perfect. We got a reflect monster sextant, right? This also means that it says players cannot take reflected damage. So this is good if you are running a build that deals damage on your own, right? So let's say you don't play mine or trap. Let's say you are playing a build like mine. I am dealing the damage myself, so I get a reflect. So this is a valuable sextant. This makes that you don't need to reroll your reflect maps. So if you got one of these and you don't have any reflect map available, just pick this out. Let's say I'm gonna do excavation, so I need to put the sextant on this area, right? But I don't have any reflected maps available, so you can just switch your stones and save that reflect for later uses. So this saves a lot of money and maybe a little time, so it's a very big improvement compared to the old atlas. So about sextants, what you want to do, what you are looking for are of course additional monsters like this. Area contains 10 additional packs of monsters that deal cold damage. So there are all kinds of these sextants available in the game, like fire monsters, chaos monsters. And let's also talk about the difference between the sextants. Let me get a similar mode. Let's find some empty ones. I think I have one available, but no, these are the same. Let me just find something else. 3 additional packs. Where was the other one? Yeah. So I think we got this one with this sextant prime, and I think we got this one with simple. Yeah. So it says this, they are the same sextant, right? But one has 3 additional packs and the other one has 4. I believe if you get the same with this one, it's gonna say 5 additional packs. So the difference is, the better the sextant, the more monsters you are gonna kill. So in my opinion, the sextant prices are really low at the moment. They are very cheap. So if I'm gonna do 100 maps again, I'm gonna probably buy only prime and awakened sextant, because you kill more monsters and you make a lot of profit already. So there is no need to save a little money by using simple sextants, in my opinion. So if you are gonna buy sextants, buy primes at least. So 1 additional pack doesn't seem much, but if you are running 100 maps with 4 sextants all the time, it's gonna mean thousands of extra monsters. So I'm sure that will make up for that additional money cost, right? And I think this covers most of about the sextants. Also, let me talk about some important sextants first. So you want additional monsters on your maps. There are also barrels. Let's just roll it a little more. Maybe we're gonna get some different ones. Fire damage monsters. This is also good. So I have some, yeah. So this one, it says 2 additional maps drop on completing areas. So this doesn't have to be high tier maps. This is all RNG. So if I am running a tier 15 map, these maps can be like tier 5 or 6. So it happens, but if you are lucky, sometimes you get 2 high tier maps. So definitely worth keeping the sextant. Make sure you use this sextant with twin maps. So it means that the map has 2 bosses inside. So like the reflex sextant, if you get this one and you don't have any 2 bosses maps, just switch the place of this one, put in another one. Make sure you save this. There is also a sextant that says unique monsters, or I'm not sure, it's the map boss I believe, that drops additional currency, harbinger currency, something like that. There's a sextant. You will notice it when you get one. It says lots of things about getting a currency from boss or something like that. So if you also use that one on 2 additional bosses, you will get double the amount of currency and harbinger shards. So make sure you save that sextant also. So bodyguard and the harbinger one for 2 bosses maps. Reflect one, of course, for reflect maps, and there's also one that increases magic pack size by 25%, I guess. It also changes with the quality of the sextant. It is between 20 and 30, I believe. So you can save those sextants for bloodline maps. It's about min-maxing your, sextants and that profit. So it really makes difference. There is also one that I think it's only available from awakened sextant. So it says Nemesis monsters drop additional currency. I haven't got one in this league, but I got lots of those in the previous league. So make sure you use that sextant with maps that has at least a Nemesis or beyond mode inside. If you have a map that has both of them, let's say you have a map that says Nemesis and Beyond together. Make sure you save that map in case you get a Nemesis monsters drop 3 currency sextant. And also you are putting Beyond on your maps, so you will get insane amount of currency inside. So make sure you use your sextants right. Save if you need to save that sextant for future uses. And that's about it with the sextants. And let's talk about how I did my maps. So if you're a new player who are not very familiar with how to roll your maps, what to look for, let's just roll some random maps. So there are lots of new players out there that still don't know that if you're trying to increase a map's or an item's quality, the amount of quality currency you need to use is different on each type of item. So if you have a map that has already yellow, alright, and you try to chisel it, let's see, the quality is 10% at the moment, now it is 11%, so each chisel adds 1, so you need to scar that map of course first, so this way it increases it by 5. Alright, so make sure you chisel your white maps, so make sure you scar them first. So there are lots of players who doesn't know this. Oh, let's see, yeah, this one is also blue. Alright, so make all your maps normal first by scarring, then chisel them, then alchemy. So what you want to look for is at least 80% quantity. I may keep 78% with good mods inside, but most of the time I reroll them or maybe wall them. So let's say this one is very bad, 69, Lemao. So this one is 81, not bad. There's also bloodlines in it. So I'm gonna keep this one. You can wall these ones, but this is a tier 15 and bloodlines is very good at tier 15s. They are capable of dropping tier 16s very easily. So I will probably not gonna wall this one. So this one is also bad. 88, very nice. There's also Nemesis inside. This one's a very good map. Let's reroll again. Yeah, this is a perfect example. So this one has 85 quantity, which is nice, but there is no additional good monster types inside like Nemesis, Bloodlines or Beyond. So this one also has reflect, so make sure you pay attention to that because I'm gonna corrupt this now, and if it goes unidentified that means that it's gonna keep the same mode, so don't get yourself killed. Make sure you read your maps carefully before wall orbing so you don't die to reflect. So I'm gonna wall this one now. Okay, it doesn't change. So this one, this is a very good map, 2 bosses and also Beyond. Let's just roll a couple more so you get the idea. So this is bad. Again. Yeah, another good example. Good quantity but no good monsters inside. So I'm also gonna wall orb this. Now it is unidentified, that's what I tried to say. So this still has the same modes. The map doesn't change when it goes unidentified. Most people, mostly new players, don't know that too. So this is the same map as before, but now it is unidentified, so it has more quantity inside. So this is a very good map. Also you need to save these maps for the sextant. Yeah, it is good that I remember that. Yeah, we have one here. This one. Found items drop identified, that doesn't matter. Pack size in unidentified maps, 15%. And also 30% increased quantity. So make sure you save this sextant for these kind of maps. So I think you got the idea of what's going on. with the sextants and the map synergy. So these ones are bad. Let's reroll. 2 bosses, 84. So because this has 2 bosses, I don't want to wall this one. There are already 3 bosses in this map, so this means there are 6 bosses now. So it is wise to keep this one. But you can also wall, and if the map doesn't change, that 6 bosses has a chance to drop sacrifice fragments. Even you can get like 3 or 4 sacrifices. So you can wall, but I enjoy keeping it like this and use it with the good sextant that has the bodyguards and stuff like that that I talked about earlier. And let's roll this one as our last map. Yeah, again a good quantity and also beyond, so very good map. So I think you got the idea of how to reroll roll your maps. So most of the time you wanna use Scour and Alchemy because it is cheaper. But if you are running low and if you are lazy to buy Chaos, not Chaos, Scour and Alchemy, you can also Chaos spam your maps. But it is cheaper to do like this at the moment. So keep an eye out on the market prices. So do what is best for you. So we talked about the atlas, the maps, the sextants, and also the investments, alright. So the fragments are very cheap this league because of probably they added wall areas in the maps. So more people sell sacrifices. That's why I believe so they are very cheap. So I normally went with 2 sacrifices before 3.9, but since they are very cheap I go with 3. So each of the sacrifices you add in your map, so you go to your map device, put your map with the sacrifices, that's how you use them, and they add 5% quantity inside. So the better, the more you use, the more quantity you will get. You can even go 4 if you have your device unlocked like mine, the 5th slot. You need to do a 4-way, I believe, Legion encounter. You need 4 stones and you go in and then your 5th one unlocks. So make sure you use your sacrifices. Midnight is most of the time the most expensive, so I don't use that. And what else? If you have some good scarabs, I didn't use any in this 100 maps, but I'm gonna probably use some of these later. So you can use the good ones like Legion. These ones were bugged. I don't know if they fixed it. Your game crashes when you attack the Legion with the Legion Scarab. I don't know if they fixed that, so I am saving mine. If you are running high tier maps like this, you can use these ones. There are some very expensive beasts. You can also sell these, of course. So what else? If you are running Delve, make sure you use these ones with very high quantity, like 8 modded maps. I'm not sure if we have any 8 modded available to show. Oh yeah, we have one. So make sure you use Nico or Sulfite Scarab if you have with these high quantity maps. About masters, yeah, I forgot that. So in the 100 maps, I maybe did like 60 masters total. I still have lots of available, but I didn't want to use masters on every map because I may not have enough masters all the time. So I didn't want to use 100 masters in 100 maps. So I only use like 60, maybe 70, I'm not sure. So If your map is unidentified or has a very high quantity, you can use Nico, so you get lots of sulfite. On your other maps, you can just use whatever you want. These also help, sustaining your maps even more. So just use whatever you have, whatever you are comfortable with. And this one, the betrayal monsters can become very deadly with some hard map mode, so I try to use these master missions, Junes, with easier maps, so you don't get yourself killed to betrayal members. So pay attention to that. And what else? So I think this is all about what I did. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet real quick, and that's gonna be the end. And if I forgot anything, please let me know, or you can also message me in the game. Let's check real quick. So this is in the description, as I said earlier. So the calculation table is here. Of course, the prices can change. I prepared this like 2 days ago. Maybe the prices changed, I'm not sure. But the profit, so let's say the spendings that you make and the money you get back, alright, they usually balance each other. So let's say the exalted is like 200 chaos. Maybe 2 days later it's gonna be more expensive, right? But also the map prices change, and also the sextant prices change. And these stuff all change together, so it usually balances each other. So most of the time you get similar profit, so it doesn't really change that much. And let's say what I write here. So these are the currencies, you can check. And the splinters. Let's take a look at the maps. So you can hide your tier 10s, that doesn't make much money, but I loot them anyways. Tier 11s, 55 maps total. So these are a little, time consuming to sell, so make sure you put them on the market as bulks, like at least 5 maps at a time, so they are very easy to sell that way. Sometimes a single person comes and buys all that same map. Let's say you have 30 of, I don't know, overgrown shrine map, alright. A guy comes and buys all of them because they enjoy farming that map, so that happens. So maybe you won't sell all of those maps in one day, but make sure you put them as bulks on the market, and eventually someone will come and buy, so you won't lose that much time. So here is a little trick for you, but I'm not sure if it is gonna be the case. Maybe in a week it can change. So here is how I sold my tier 13s. I don't think that, alright, I still have 3 available. So if you leave Waldo's Rest as level 3 like I did, Overgrown Shrine is your only tier 13 map. So once you finish farming lots of maps, let's see, I got 46 tier 13 from 100 maps. These were all Overgrown Shrines because I don't have any other tier 13s on my atlas. So it is, again, you need to find someone that wants to buy Overgrown Shrines in as bulks, alright. But funny stuff that Overgrown Shrine is like 3 chaos or even less, but if you sell it to vendor and get a mineral pool, this map is 11 chaos. So it is more money and also easier to sell because it is way faster to sell less maps. Let's say 46 maps. So it means that you are gonna get 15 mineral pools if you vendor all of these, right? 3 maps makes 1 mineral pools, and they are also, mineral pool is also more expensive, so it's a little trick that I found. It can be the same result as maybe for another map, I'm not sure. Let's say you have this area S3. What else do we have here? Oh, we have more maps, so it's gonna be harder. So maybe leaving Waldo as level 3 was a very good choice, but I didn't know that before I started. So it is easier to get only 113 and combine all of them together and sell them as tier 14. So that's a little trick for you. Let's say how much we get, how many maps we get from 100 maps for, well, I couldn't find the correct word, sorry for my English. So let's say you are trying to make 100 maps and you want to sustain them, right? So you need to get at least 100 tier 15 and 16 combined. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So from 100 maps we get like 183. Yeah, so almost the double amount, which is huge. And I believe the Atlas bonus really helps with this one, because this wasn't the case before 3.9. If you run 100 maps in the previous league, you most of the time get 140, maybe 150, not that much. But now I got like 173, yeah. So there's a huge difference. I'm sure the Atlas bonus has very big impact on this. So it is easier to sustain maps now, it seems. And what else do we have? Catalysts. I only mentioned eyes and livers because these are harder to find. These used to be hard to find. Now they balanced it. Actually, I got very similar amount of organs, but eyes are still the most expensive, so I also wrote them here. But I'm not gonna sell these, so you can also do the same. But I just want to mention here, I didn't get any expensive oils, so there is not much profit there. You are not gonna sell this one anyways. So as you see, we have a good profit from fragments, which you are gonna use, of course, but most of the profit on this section comes from guardian maps, synthesized maps, and blighted maps. I don't think that I showed you the synthesized maps. Yeah, here it is. So these were the maps that I got from the 100 maps. So like 4 guardians, 4 elder guardians, 4 shaper guardians, and 3 synthesized maps. These are also like 35 chaos each. Also we got 2 blighted maps, as you can see here. So a very big profit from that awakening level, because that's how you get elder shaper and synthesized maps. And finally, I already talked about this at the start of video, so the profit was around 25x. You can all check these later. This is what I spent. We also used Tempest prophecies You can also use plague of frogs, or what else, the other one, the other rats, yeah. You can also use those, they work good with beyond, but I didn't have those, so I only used tempest, and only 23 of them frogged in 100 maps, which was not very good actually. So I'm gonna probably buy rats and frogs also, yeah. And I also mentioned the organ drops here. As you can see that they are really close to each other right now. Actually, we got more eyes than livers. Most of the time people were like, oh, we don't get any eyes, what's going on? Now you don't get livers. Maybe I was just unlucky, I don't know. And I think that's about it. If you watched till the end, you are a champion, thanks. And yeah, make sure you ask any questions. If you have, message me in game, leave a comment below, and I will see you next time.